Welcome to the financial intelligence session for today. This is a session that we hold on a weekly basis via Zoom. This is not about getting rich quick overnight, but instilling in you the skills, information, and education to build lifetime wealth that can be passed on to your children and grandchildren. I want to welcome every members of our groups to this session today. If you're joining us for the first time, you're awesomely welcome as well. We encourage you to join each session every week and do watch our previous recordings as each sessions are always a powerful one you cannot afford to miss. Make sure to invite your friends and families along next time. Before we dive into today's session, if you're yet to watch the session we had last week, please try and watch after the session. It is uploaded on our YouTube channel, which is D Howard. So you can just check it out and watch the previous session. So let's do a quick recap on what we discussed last week. In our previous session, we talked about deciding what kind of investor you would like to be. Perhaps you have once thought why some investors make more money with less risk than others do. The reason why many people struggle financially is because they avoid financial problems. According to the author, we have seven types of investors under three categories. The type A kind of investor, these are investors who seek problems. And then we have the type B, these are investors who seek answers. And we have the type C, and these are those who know nothing. And we also talked about how to get rich faster. If you're starting small right now, the thing you can do is start small and learn to solve problems. Okay, so you want to start small and learn to solve problems. Look around you and what problem can you start solving today? No matter how small it may seem, you're learning and gaining something in the process. Your wealth will increase tremendously with the more problems that you're able to solve. So your chances of accumulating more wealth when you solve more problem is high. If it's your desire to acquire assets faster, then you should learn the skills of the business owners and investors. We talked about minding your own business if you want to get to achieve financial success faster. So you got to learn how to mind your own business if you want to achieve financial success faster. When looking at many people in the society today, when you look at their balance sheet, you can see how many people have been conditioned to mind others people's business and neglect their own. Basically, what do we mean by that? They owe other people, but they never build their own asset columns. You gotta learn to take control of your cash flow. You gotta learn to understand what risk is and what risky is, right? And you gotta understand the difference between each type of investors that we mentioned earlier, like in the previous slide. So those are the types A, B, and C. You gotta understand the difference between these types of three investors. We also talked about the power in temptation. A lot of people swindle in debt and end up with a whole lot of irrelevant liabilities. People often buy things they thought are assets, but it is a liability. As long as it isn't bringing money back into your pocket, it is a liability. Such spending habits inhibits them from acquiring assets. So lack of financial education can lead one into temptation. Having a role model who is not financially literate can lead to acquiring liabilities as well. Like if you have a role model who is not financially sound, they're not financially literate, because they're your role model, their influence in your life can actually lead you into acquiring liabilities as well. So it's very important to know who your role model is. These and many more were discussed in our previous session. So I encourage you to watch the full video on our YouTube channel. Usually, before I start, I like to start with quotes, and I pulled two here today because we're going to be talking about disappointment, and we're going to be talking about mistakes, as we go along today. So, disappointment can drive us or it can defeat us. And I'm going to read the second quote as well. You will make some mistakes, but if you learn from those mistakes, Those mistakes will become wisdom, and wisdom is essential to becoming wealthy. Wow, I'm going to repeat that again. You will make some mistakes, but if you learn from those mistakes will become wisdom, and wisdom is essential to becoming wealthy. We're going to be talking about this today, folks. So stay along as we go into the next slide. Wow, these are powerful quotes, and something that we really need to revisit and think about it. Like people get disappointed and they let it defeat them. So we want to learn more about it today. Let's start talking about making disappointment your strengths. Okay, most times people are afraid to try something new. When you dig deeper, you probably find that there is an underlying fear of disappointment. That's probably like what happens to most people, and they're afraid to try something new. They are afraid of rejection or even making a mistake. Wow. Be prepared for disappointments when you embark on this journey of financial freedom. I mean, being disappointed in a more positive way than a negative way. So when I'm talking about disappointments, I'm not talking about it in a negative way, but in a positive way. And you're gonna understand as we go along. When you prepare your mind for the worst, then you can stand the chance of turning disappointment into assets. You see, most people turn disappointment into liabilities in their lives, which leaves a strong negative deposits in their cores, like it deep inside of them. They're hurt, right? So it kind of leaves a strong negative deposits in their subconscious. So, and this is what happens to most people. They turn disappointment into liabilities. This is why you would hear some people say things like, I'll never invest again. Or they could say something like, I knew I would fail. Like they would say they knew they would fail, right? Always remember that in every problem lies an opportunity, folks. Every problem you see around you, there is an opportunity in it. And inside every disappointment lies a priceless gem of wisdom. This is the same quotes that we just read, right? In every disappointment lies a priceless gem of wisdom. It is only a joker in life that would expect everything to go their way at all times. Like someone would have to be a joker to, for them to think like everything they do in life is going to go their way. When you prepare your mind for disappointments, this doesn't make you a loser. It is a way of preparing yourself mentally and emotionally for any surprises that you may not want. You can remain calm and be dignified even when things don't go your way. Yeah, that's true. So people tend to think better when they're calm. And I can use myself as an example because I totally agree with this. I practice this principle. I am not phased by anything. I remain calm in order for me to be able to make the best decision I can make in times of crisis. Even when people are yelling around me, like let's say, for example, there's something terrible happened around me, I usually maintain my calm. It's not that I'm happy, it's not that I'm not worried. It's just for me to be able to think, like, okay, now this thing has happened. It cannot be reversed. The only thing that we can do right now is how are we going to get out of it? So that requires critical and proper thinking. And that is the way, that is my nature. That is how I approach things in life. And just as you will dial an emergency number to request for help when you have an emergency situation, who is on your list of trusted and knowledgeable contacts, right? So who would you reach out to when you're in financial emergency? Very important. Having a mentor on standby is key. You should have at least someone you can reach out to if you have financial emergency, someone who can easily guide you back on track when it seems like you are swaying away. As mentioned in the previous sessions, be kind to yourself. Sometimes when people make mistakes and get disappointed, one painful experience is not what others say, but how hard they are on themselves whenever they make mistakes. So people would be so hard on themselves, they would beat themselves up more than anyone else. Things can be hard, and it can be very difficult for you to learn something new if you continue to punish yourself, and then if you continue to play the blame game whenever you're faced with disappointment. We all make mistakes in life, but running away from our mistakes is a way to chicken out. Basically, it's the easy way out. Okay, so whenever you're running away from your mistakes, it's just an easy way out for you. Yes, it can be upsetting and disappointing when things don't go our ways. Of course, yes, it can be, but how we deal with such disappointments is what makes the big difference. The size of your success is measured by the strength of your desire, the size of your dream, and how you handle disappointment along the way. So take action. You are allowed to make mistakes, okay? So we talked about this, taking it slowly in the previous session. Losing is part of winning. So you got to understand that losing, when you lose, that is part of winning. Most people, or even people in the employee and employed quadrants, they're trained that making mistakes is not acceptable. Reverse is the case for the business owners and investors, because the business owners and the investors understand that they learn from the mistakes that they made, and that helps them going forward. And this makes a whole lot of difference. Somebody else is trying to avoid mistakes, or even when they make mistakes, they run from it. So that's the poor mentality. The rich mentality understands that they will make mistakes, but they are ready to make the mistakes and learn. Very important. You don't want to make the same mistakes twice. So you want to learn from the mistake that you make, and then improve on it the next time. But what most people in the employee and the self-employed quadrants do is they try to avoid the mistakes. They feel that making mistakes is not acceptable, or even when they make the mistakes, they run away from it. But the rich don't do that. The business owners and the investors, they understand that they will learn from the mistakes that they make or they ever make in their life. And number two, start small by putting a little money down. If you find an investment that you want to invest in, put a little money down, right? You'll be amazed by how quickly you learn and become more intelligent when your money is on the line, right? When you have money working for you, it makes you to be inquisitive. You want to learn more. You want to know. Okay, you become more intelligent. Then you start learning about investing. Why? Because now your money is at stake, right? And obviously, you don't want to lose the money. You want to make it to bring back something back to you, start working for you, and start putting money back in your pocket. So you will actually be amazed how quickly you learn and become more intelligent when your money is on the line. Don't break the bank. Just put a little money you can let go or afford to lose when testing the waters. Okay. So there is no need to become greedy. You gotta, eliminate the spirit of greed right now when you're starting this process. So just put in a very little amount that you can afford to lose or you can afford to let go, just because you're in the learning phase, right? You're still learning. You're not an expert yet, but you're taking action. And that is why you want to start small by putting a little money down. So you want to set aside some funds in order to do this. And three is take action. This is the key, to taking action steps. Taking action is key. So you want to start by reading, you want to start by watching, and you want to start by listening, which are all crucial to your education, in this journey. You should also start doing, which is also the same as taking action. You should start doing something. Make offers on small businesses, and if you have the cash, make offers on investment properties that will generate cash flow for you. Learn about stocks, cryptos, and see if this is what you can invest in as well. Seek advice from your mentor or financial advisor or tax advisor. If you need it, you gotta seek out advice from these people, right? So you also got to do something and get the ball rolling. You gotta start doing something and get the ball rolling. You gotta stand up, get away from your comfort zone right now and then start doing something. Like, we've given a lot of action steps in the past 2 or 3 weeks. We've been talking about ways that can help you to become rich faster. So these are the things that you should start paying attention to. Let's talk
Okay.
about the power of faith. You see, a mirror reflects back more than just a visual image. In reality, a mirror reflects back our thoughts. Wow. These thoughts are important than what's going on the outside. Perhaps you may have seen someone who is loved by others, but they struggle to love themselves. Yeah. So a lot of people, they look beautiful, but they keep saying to themselves they're not beautiful. A lot of people, they have this inner damage that is being done to them. Like, they're loved by people around them, but they struggle to even love themselves, right? What we think is often a reflection of our subconscious level. Thoughts are a reflection of our love for ourselves or dislike of ourselves, how we treat ourselves, and our overall opinion of ourselves. Some people hold a very high esteem of themselves and some have a very low self-esteem. This goes a long way in the results that we get in our lives, folks. Some people aren't happy with their situations right now, and deep inside they know they have to do something about it. You will notice that people in this category often use words that reflect what opinion they hold of for themselves. People pour out their mind in moments of highest emotions, and you may hear them say things like, I can't afford to do that. I can't transition from an employee to a business owner, or let alone an investor. Did you say invest? It's like you want me to lose all my money. Oh, I've tried in the past, it is a scam. Or they could say something like, I'm too old or I'm too young, right? You start to see why some people are held back and they're unable to make progress in life. And you see people say things like this and so on, like that. When you listen to people in this category, pay attention to their spoken words and you can tell a whole lot more about them. People don't trust themselves, and this is what happened. People who don't trust themselves, they cannot be friends with money because money will simply not stay with them. Remember that the only limits in your life are those that you impose on yourself.
So
The author advised that for those who are ready to move from one quadrant to another, the most important advice he can offer is to be aware of your words. Most importantly, be aware of words coming from deep inside. For change to come, you will need to pay attention to the words spawned by your emotions. To survive this journey, you need to be aware when your emotions are doing your thinking for you. When you say you can't do this or you can't afford that, you're saying much about yourself and using the can't, right? When you use the cannot, the can't as an excuse for you not taking the right action, this shuts down your thinking faculty. So it doesn't allow you to think about how you can get out of the current situation and how things can be improved in your life. Personal truths are also personal lies. If you don't keep the truth to yourself and lie, you will never be able to complete the journey. What does this mean? As an example, if you say that I can't afford to become a business owner, it's too risky. This may be a truth and this may also be a lie. The real truth may be if you don't become a business owner, it's even riskier, right? And even deeper than that, the real truth is that you love to be a business owner and become financially free. When you get to a point of unveiling the deeper truth, you may find something in you that will trigger the change. Although you may not necessarily be good at something, but you can take the time developing yourself. Do not run away from what you need to learn. Face your fears and doubts and watch a new world open right in front of you. And most importantly, take action. Believe in yourself and start today. Start right where you are and with what you have right now. In summary, be true to yourself. Try to be a long term investor if you're yet to be one. Take control of your spending habits. This requires discipline, of course. Minimize your debts and liabilities. Live within your means for now and then gradually increase your means. Make inquiries about investment opportunities with a realistic return on investment and how long you need to invest to reach your goal, to reach your goals in life. And we're talking about goals like the age that you plan to retire, right? We're talking about goals like your monthly expenses to live the lifestyle that you desire to live when you retire. Keep it simple and you will triumph in the end. This marks the end of this series of financial intelligence sessions. Well, this is not the end. This is actually the beginning. Now we move on to taking action. We will still, of course, continue with our learning, but most importantly, start bringing on board investment education and opportunities. I feel there is need to get educated in anything you choose to invest in, especially when this is a long-term investment, right? So you want to understand like what you're investing in, and especially if you're going to be doing it for a long time, you really want to know what you're doing, and it will help you a lot. So you want to get educated. Thank you for being part of this series. So thank you very much for being part of this series. Like I said, this is just the beginning, and I look forward to your success stories in the near future. You can reach out to me on WhatsApp, and also I want to encourage you to invite others to join in the future. Now, we're going to start looking into different opportunities, probably get more educated. Like, I'm going to be sharing more about getting educated in these lines. And at the same time, we're still going to continue learning because it's very important to get educated. It's very important to know what you're doing versus just giving somebody else your money and then expecting them to work for you. So think about it. If you give someone your money to invest for you, what if they're no longer alive? Like something happens to them. So what's going to happen to you? You're going to be back to square one, right? So that's why it's important that you also understand, even if it's just like you know how to drive, but you also employ a driver to drive you around, right? Your driver knows that you know how to drive, so it's not gonna mess around. It's not gonna just drive you anywhere and then park the car and then say, "Hey, here you go, sort yourself out," right? But when people know that you don't know how to do something, then they can take advantage of you. So the driver can literally drive you to the middle of nowhere and then park the car. And then if you don't know how to drive and you're in the middle of nowhere, then that's that's a big problem. That's big problem. But if you know how to drive, obviously you just get in and drive on, right? So that's the way it is with everything, even with investing as well. So you can always revisit the video that we have in the previous sessions, and then you can learn again and again and again, right? And then start putting into practice, take action of all the things that you've learned, right? I really want to encourage you, if you're new today, like please watch the previous sessions. Please do, because they are loaded. Like there are lots of information that we've shared that will really help you. So very important to, if you haven't, please watch the previous session. Have an awesome weekend and stay blessed out there, folks. Stay safe, and I will be in touch with you again. Thanks. Bye for now.